Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Harrington. Tonight on the Now Bakersfield, we introduce you to a mother and son weightlifting duo who train together and now could be competing together this fall in a national contest. Plus, as Hurricane Florence gets closer to the East Coast, a group of local volunteers is getting ready to help those in need. That's all ahead on the Now Bakersfield. Chris?
Well, hello, everybody. We're here in Wilmington, North Carolina. This is an area right in the path of Hurricane Florence. We've started to see a little bit of an impact of the storm today. There's been some storm surge near the coast. We're just a little bit inland, but behind me, the Cape Fear River, and this a big area of concern because of the flooding and the storm surge that is expected to come with this hurricane. In fact, they're expecting about 8 months worth of rain here in just about 3 days. So over the course of the week, we've seen people making the decision, should they stay, should they go? Well, the people who are here, they are going to be here for this storm. And it is a storm to this point that has impacted so many people. Let's break that down for you here with a look at these numbers. Now, we do know just about 1.7 million people are under mandatory and voluntary evacuation orders. More than 10 million people live in places under storm watches and warnings right now. There are states of emergency in several places, both Carolinas, Georgia, Virginia, and Maryland. Duke Energy expecting 1 million to 3 million homes and businesses to lose power in this storm, not to mention 1,000 flights canceled through tomorrow. We do have teams both to our inland as well as to our south. We're going to be checking in with them throughout the half hour. Much to talk about with Hurricane Florence getting closer to the Carolina coast.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, a group of Kern County locals are heading to Las Vegas this weekend to compete in a national weightlifting competition. The Now's Leah Pizzetti visited them during a training session to find out what's motivating them to make it to the top.
This weekend is a big deal because if these athletes do well, they'll make it to the finals, a goal that's been a long time coming.
The focus is intense. 1, 2, and drop. It's quick, it's precise, it's why Carly Fuller loves the sport.
The pressure was so insane mentally. It wasn't the physical part, it was the pressure mentally. People were staring at you, you had, and I love that.
She runs an Olympic weightlifting club out of her home, a passion she's dedicated herself to stay healthy.
I just use, the training as the natural medicine for me.
A remedy for challenges she's had to overcome, like an eating disorder.
It's not viewing food as something bad, it's fueling for my body because I want to weigh as much as possible so I can weigh in and lift as much weight as possible.
She says it's also helped with mental health problems like depression.
It was a reason to get out of bed and, I just get up, start moving, get the endorphins running, and I was able to do that instead of take medication.
Motivating her to train, and she in turn motivates her students to try their hardest.
I want to stay on top. I don't want to lose anymore. I like staying on top. It's fun.
16-year-old Jaden Sanchez goes to BHS where he plays football, wrestles, and has a 4.1 GPA in addition to being this year's Youth National Weightlifting Champion.
I get compliments all the time, like, you're such a great mom, you're doing it, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything, I promise I'm not. He's made everything super easy.
That's right. One of Carly's students is also her son.
And I just started watching her, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I want to try this. I started trying it, and then I kept on doing it.
He started when he was young, so she was the strong one. Now,
I tell him all the time, man, I remember when I was stronger than you. I remember when we shared the same bar. Not anymore.
That was a huge breaking point. I was so proud of myself when I was stronger than my mom.
Now the two train together.
I coach him, and when he's out here watching, like, he's basically my eyes on me. He's been watching me the longest, so I'll ask him what did he see, and he's brutally honest.
Honesty that unites them.
It also makes us closer as like a mother's son. Almost best friends type of thing. I just feel super lucky because the kid's my best friend.
Best friends who cheer each other on every step of the way. Making every 1, 2, drop worth the effort.
Now, the two have always said they hope to compete in a national competition together, and that could happen this year. Jaden is currently the youth champion, but this weekend, if he qualifies, they both will have the chance to go to the senior national finals together in November. If Jaden does make it to the finals, he'll be one of the youngest weightlifters there. For the Now, I'm Leah Paccetti.
All right, Leah, thanks. Well, now to Hurricane Florence as we take a look at the Carolina coast. Now, Florence is expected to arrive soon. So far, officials say they are already feeling the impact from the storm surge and seeing bigger ocean waves. Again, these are live pictures right now, a live look at it. There is some minor flooding at this point, but thankfully help is on the way. Today, 15 volunteers from various American Red Cross chapters in the Central Valley arrived in Virginia to begin working on helping those in the path of the storm. 6 of those volunteers are from the local Kern County chapter. According to the local spokesperson with the Red Cross, the group left this morning and arrived in the area earlier this evening. Chris?
All right, we're here in Wilmington, North Carolina, ahead of Hurricane Florence. Right now, we're coming to you from our 7th floor balcony of our hotel. This is a safe place, but we do want to give you the best perspective we can of this storm and the impact that it really could have. And you take a look behind me. This is the Cape Fear River. This is a huge area of concern because the big issue with this storm, it is going to be the flooding and it's going to be the storm surge. In fact, the storm surge, some experts saying, could be around 13 feet in parts of North Carolina. Now, why is storm surge such a big problem? Well, it's an abnormal rise in sea level. What does all of that really mean? Well, you combine high waters with strong winds and coastal water just gets driven inland. That water, it'll come in as a large wave, and that pushes everything in its path. Yeah, and that includes people as well. Now, inland water levels can also rise above 20 feet. During Hurricane Katrina, NOAA says 1,500 people died just as a result of storm surge. In fact, the largest storm surge ever in the U.S. happened during Katrina. Now, storm surge was recorded there more than 27 feet above sea level. Come on.
All right, Chris, topping the Now news feed. You remember this awkward picture of the father of one of the victims of the Parkland school shooting trying to shake Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh's hand. Well, now Kavanaugh is saying he didn't recognize Fred Gutenberg, before security whisked him away. He said if he had, he would have just shaken his hand. Now today, U.S. and Cuban officials, they met to get answers about so-called health attacks that have injured American diplomats in Cuba. They started about 2 years ago and they've affected nearly 24 people, with some even having brain damage. They hope to find the method and motive of the attacks. So we see these ads on Facebook all of the time, but a new lawsuit is claiming that Facebook is misleading about their effectiveness. InvestorVillage.com says Facebook tells advertisers it can reach its target audience 90% of the time, but that wasn't the case when they tried it out. Facebook made more than $13 billion from ads just this quarter. Chris?
All right, Kamasi, thank you. And our Hurricane Florence coverage from Wilmington, North Carolina continues. The conditions here, it has been a breezy, little bit of a wet day, but all of that expected to get much worse over the next couple of hours. That's the situation here on the ground. Take a look at the situation in space. This is the latest image of this storm from the International Space Station. This is just a massive storm. We'll have the very latest. You're watching The Now.
warning, your time is running out.
So you know a thing or two about a hurricane?
Yeah.
Because you've lived a few.
But there's nothing really you can do.
Don't relax. Don't get complacent. Stay on guard.
What are you hoping for the next 48 hours?
That we don't have a lot of damage.
And welcome back to the Now. I'm Chris Stewart. We're here in Wilmington, North Carolina, ahead of Hurricane Florence coming into this area. We're here just a couple of miles from the ocean, but inland from us, there are some big concerns about flooding, even mudslides, as this storm gets closer. Our Nicole Val is in Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's an area known for its farming, and she's checking and seeing how farmers are taking care of their animals for this.
Well, I see the first drop of rain coming, then I'll shut them up right quick. Get them in out of the weather.
Worry
A lot of work, this stuff.
really isn't on rancher Buddy Young's mind.
I'm not worried about it. You know, that's the good Lord's. I think he'll take care of everything.
That's because he's getting prepared.
Come on, babies. Yeah, they're trying to get away from us now.
Getting his goats,
26 or better, 27 maybe.
horses,
Go on now.
chickens, and roosters
I got one hen and two little bitties left.
ready for Hurricane Florence.
I'll put them in this side yonder, and I got stalls inside.
In Fayetteville, the F word is flooding, especially if you own a farm. Flooding can mean a crop catastrophe. Young saw that a couple years ago during Hurricane Matthew.
Soybeans and everything. There was about 70 acres of it, and it was all 3 or 4 foot underwater.
Lost crops and livestock, a concern. But Young says as long as you're prepared,
Good boy.
like he is,
Go.
worrying is a waste.
And I got everything ready. I mean, to take care of all my animals, and everything's put up pretty much now. It's going to be what it is.
And whether you're a rancher or just a resident here in Fayetteville, all eyes are on this river right here. This is the Cape Fear. Just a couple of years ago in 2016 during Hurricane Matthew, folks here tell me this water you're looking at got almost all the way to the bottom of this bridge. So just in the next 48 hours, we're just going to have to see how things shape up. For the Now, I'm Nicole Vowell.
Well, back here in Kern County, firefighters are continuing to battle the water fire. The blaze, which sparked yesterday just before 11:30 in the morning on I-5 near the Grapevine, has burned 95 acres and is currently 75% contained. The Kern County Fire Department says a firefighter suffered moderate injuries from a rolling rock. He was airlifted to Kern Medical, and tonight he's been released. KCFD says it all started as a vehicle fire on I-5, which then sparked a grass fire nearby. Evacuation orders were issued for residents in the DeJay Canyon, but the notice was lifted around 3:30 p.m. Firefighters are still working throughout the night and through today to get the blaze under control. We'll, of course, continue to keep you updated on this fire. Just be sure to check in on our website, turnto23.com, and follow along on our 23 ABC Facebook page. Do you like tacos? Do you like beer? Well, you can enjoy both in one place as the annual Bakersfield Taco and Beer Festival is returning to Kern County Museum this weekend. You'll have the chance to experience unlimited pours of craft beer from local and regional breweries, as well as unlimited taco tastings from some of the top restaurants and food trucks in the state. Other food and drink items will also be sold. The event will feature live entertainment, games, and so much more. It's happening tomorrow from 5 to 9 p.m. and Saturday from 3 to 7 p.m. Tickets are $45 a piece, and you can find a link to buy them on our website, turnto23.com. We have a chance to get a taste of downtown as an annual event showcases the culinary culture in that area. The Downtown Business Association is hosting the Taste of Downtown right now. Restaurants in the downtown area are serving up sample-sized portions of some of their best dishes. It's happening from now until 10 o'clock in the Downtown Arts District. The event is free to attend, but tasting tickets do have to be purchased. They are $1 to $10. All right, taking a live look outside. And Allison, you were out at the Taste of Downtown earlier. It looked great. Did it feel great?
It felt so great out there, and the food was just as good. So we've been feeling those fall-like temperatures. Now this event is going on until 10 p.m. So temperatures are going to be feeling nice. 69 degrees with a light breeze. So you definitely want to get out there tonight. Today, though, we were definitely feeling those fall-like temperatures with a high of 84 degrees. That's below seasonal, and those below seasonal temperatures are going to continue as we head into the weekend. So we're down 6 degrees here in Bakersfield from what we were feeling this time yesterday, down 4 into Hatchapee. So we did feel a nice onshore flow making its way into the county. Did see some breezy conditions up in the mountains as well as down in our desert cities, but those winds calming down as we head into the later evening hours tonight. But thankfully, that does mean another day of moderate air quality. We'll have an AQI of 68. And as for temperatures tomorrow, well, starting off in the low 60s at 8 p.m., jumping up to the mid 80s, 86 degrees. So a few degrees warmer than today, but still not bad out there at all. And as for temperatures, as we head into the rest of the week, well, they're going to be hanging out in the 80s through Sunday. We're actually going to be dropping down to 84 degrees. So exactly what we were feeling today, then warming up just a bit for the first day of the fair. And as the next few days continue, we're going to be at 89 degrees, then up to 91 on Thursday, which is right on track with seasonal. So it is going to be just a perfect first few days of the fair. We'll stick around for more details when the Now Bakersfield comes right back.
Let's check out the Now News feed. Scary numbers out today about the number of people around the world who have cancer. A new report says it's rapidly growing with 18.1 million new cases and 9.6 million deaths just this year. The World Health Organization says by the end of the century, cancer will be the #1 killer in the world. Well, the struggle is real for women in the workplace. New research from the company Prattle, done for Bloomberg, found those quarterly earning calls, almost all companies have them, are dominated by men. Researchers found men spoke 92% of the time, and it's partly because male executives and analysts far outnumber women in those roles. If Apple's big unveiling has you thinking that you just gotta have a new iPhone, here's a way that you can save a few bucks because they're kind of expensive. Sam's Club is offering a $100 gift card to members who purchase any of the new iPhones next week, and it'll be available for Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, and AT&T. Well, it's not even October yet, but stores are already preparing for the holiday season by looking for seasonal workers. Here's the Now's Annie Taylor with what you need to know if you want to get hired.
The holiday season may be the perfect way to get some extra cash. Target is offering more money to get more workers this year. They need 120,000 extra people, and to make the deal a little sweeter, they'll start temp workers off at $12 an hour. Workers will also get a 10% discount online and 20% off wellness items like fruit and workout gear. Macy's also trying to bring in 80,000 workers on board. The store is also offering incentives to seasonal workers like bonuses if the store meets sales goals. And if you can't make it to any of Macy's hiring events, they'll also be conducting interviews over the phone. Kohl's just kicked off holiday hiring back in July. They haven't said, though, exactly how many people they're looking to hire, but some of their perks include a 15% discount that can be combined with coupons. And there's a chance seasonal employees could be hired permanently. At least 2 other places that have started holiday hiring include FedEx and Bath & Body Works.
All right, Andy, thank you. We are going to wrap up the Now with more coverage of Hurricane Florence. All eyes on this storm. We're going to check in with our crew in Charleston, South Carolina. They're talking to the Coast Guard about how they are getting ready for the potential of water rescues and why they're counting on volunteers. Welcome back to the Now. I'm Chris Stewart, and we've been talking so much about how storm surge and flooding is such a concern with Hurricane Florence. The Now's Chris Welch in Charleston, South Carolina, talking to the Coast Guard about how they're getting ready.
Now here in Charleston, we could start to see tropical storm force winds as early as tomorrow. So you see there's still people out and about trying to enjoy some of the remaining nice weather here today. But we're in very low-lying territory, and that means with any amount of rain here, especially with a storm like this, they could get some serious flooding. We're in low-lying territory. Even on a day when it's not raining like today, you've got standing water here. And that's a particular problem even for people like the Coast Guard. Their office is right behind us here. They've had to move all of their resources about 10 miles west of here because they just want to be able to deploy and rescue people in the event that that's needed after this storm comes through. Now, we caught up with them earlier today, and their message is really to heed the government's warning to get out. Do they still have time to leave?
Absolutely. The conditions are still good to get out of town. The ability of you and your family to move and get out of the way of the storm, to get to a place where you can ride it out safely, I would definitely recommend doing so. There's hours today before we even see tropical storm force winds in the Charleston area to get out of town.
Now, for a town that's under mandatory evacuation, I have to say we were still pretty surprised at the number of people out and about here along the Battery. Yes, the storm has weakened some, but forecasts still predict this could be a major flooding event here along the coast. Now, this is what one local couple, they're planning to ride out the storm. This is what they told us when we asked if they were surprised to see so many people here along the waterfront.
Not really. I think people are curious.
Yeah.
They know the storm's still a couple of 100 miles away.
Yeah.
So they come down and walk around, and most of us are bored at this point because we've been preparing for this for a week and it's still not here.
Now, for the last couple of days, eastbound lanes on Interstate 26 had been reversed. So all traffic on Interstate 26 was leaving Charleston to go away toward Columbia. That was, of course, to accommodate for these evacuations. But officials are now saying anyone who might still be on the fence and thinking about leaving should do so today, because those reversals will end and that highway will go back to two-lane traffic by the end of tonight. Reporting in Charleston, South Carolina for The Now, I'm Chris Welch.
All right, Chris, thank you. And we will be waiting out this storm. More coverage from the Carolinas of Hurricane Florence tomorrow here on The Now, but that will do it for us tonight. I'm Chris Stewart.
All right, Chris, and back here coming up tonight on 23 ABC News at 11. As we mentioned earlier in this newscast, a local firefighter was injured while fighting the water fire. He's now been released from the hospital, and tonight his family is speaking to us, sharing his story and how he's doing. Again, we have that and much more coming up tonight on 23 ABC News at 11. In the meantime, we can't help but continue to talk about these amazing temperatures that we've been having lately. All of a sudden, it just feels like fall has arrived.
It is fall finally here. We're at 80 degrees right now here in Bakersfield. And if you are planning on going out to any of the football games tomorrow, well, by the time kickoff starts at 7:30, down to 77 degrees. So much cooler than what we were feeling last week and weeks before. But temperatures are going to be looking pretty great as we head into the weekend. 86 as a high for us here in Bakersfield tomorrow, 87 on Saturday, and then dipping down to 84 on Sunday. So kind of like what we were seeing today in the fair, now less than a week away, and temperatures going to be below seasonal.
All right, love it. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. That's going to do it for us on The Now Bakersfield. We'll see you back here tonight at 11.